Welcome back dear students. In today's video I am going to discuss format operator in Python. Outcome of watching today's video is, by the end of this video you will be able to write programs using format operator and its options. Let's start the discussion. The format operator, which is represented by %, allows us to construct strings replacing parts of these strings with the data stored in variables. Dear students, basically we are going to use format operator to format the strings. It will allow us to construct strings. How we can construct strings? By replacing parts of the strings with the data stored in some variables. When applied to integer, % is a modulus operator. This already we have used, dear students. If we apply say this percentage to integers, it will act as a modulus operator. But when the first operand is a string, % is a format operator. Okay, so instead of integer, say when the first operand is a string, it is a format operator. The first operand is the format string, which contains one or more format sequence that specify how the second operand is formatted. Dear students, so this format operator will work on two operands. In that the first operand is the format string, means which format we want to get that format string. There will be second operand, how it should be formatted will be given in a first operand. So, and the result of this modulus operator will be a string. For example, the format sequence %d means that the second operand should be formatted as an integer. So here if you see %d means d stands for decimal, which tell that say it should be means whatever the format will be given means the second operand should be formatted as an integer. This is the first operand, it will be there in a first operand. This is a format sequence. %d is called as a format sequence. Okay, % is a format operator. Say this operator is telling that the second operand should be converted to a integer. Like say for example, dear students, if we take a say variable students which is equal to say for example 47, when we convert, this is the syntax. This % which is nothing but format operator, it will work on two operands. This is one operand and this is another operand. %d will tell that convert the second operand into an integer. Okay, so here student will be printed in means number of the value of students will be printed in place of %d. If you see the result, it will be 47. Okay, before we proceed further, dear students, I will show the execution in Python interpreter and later we'll proceed further. Let me start Python 3 interpreter, and here say if I use a variable students is equal to say 15, which by default say when I have assigned a integer to a students is a integer variable. Now here say the format specifier is %d. If I print %d and here %students, if you see this, okay, the syntax %d and %student, you can see here this is first operand and this is second operand. It is 50. So we can use something like this. Say like there are %d students in Python class. Look at this, dear students. In place of %d, whatever the value is there for students will be printed. There are 50 students in Python class. So the result is a string. Say that is say whatever, even dear students, here while converting this students, it will be converted to integer. But when it is printed, it will be converted to a string. Finally, when it is printed, it will be converted to a string. Say which is means don't confuse this 50 with a 50 integer. This will be a string. At the end, this 50 will be a string. A format sequence can appear anywhere in the string. So we can embed a value in a sentence like this, which I gave example. There are %d students in Python class. right? The following example uses a %d to format an integer, %g to format floating point number. Like see, if you see, dear students, the ratio of girls to percentage strength is %g. Means the ratio of girls to percentage strength is %g. Here there are two format sequences. One is %s and another one is %g. Whenever there are more than one sequences, after the % we are going to use a parenthesis. Inside the parenthesis, all the variables or values should be separated by comma. Like if you see, dear students, here in this particular operand, the first operand which is enclosed within a single quote, there are two format specifiers, and after the percentage within a parenthesis, here we have two values. One is a variable and another one is a direct value. So I'll show you one example for this. Like here there are %d students in Python class and %d in operating system. Like here after the %, is students, already the variable, and another I'll directly write, say for example 56. If you see the result, so there are 50 students in Python class and 56 in operating system. There will be one-to-one mapping. This first variable will be assigned to the first format sequence and the second variable will be assigned to second format sequence. And yes students, the number of format sequences and the variables should match. If it doesn't match, we'll get an error, like in this case. Okay, so the type error, not enough arguments for the format string, because here there are two format strings, means format specifiers, whereas in this case we have given only one argument. Okay, so because of that, even in other case also, like say for example I have given 2 there, whereas this %, if I don't give, then also you will get error. Not all arguments converted during string format. Means in this case I have given only one format specifier, whereas there are 2 arguments. Dear students, number of arguments and the number of format specifiers both should match. The number of elements in a tuple must match the number of format sequences in the string. Dear students, the tuple is a new word for you. This particular tuple is actually one of the very important element of a Python, which we are going to discuss in a module 3. As of now, so you just remember this comma separated say elements, whatever it's been written here is called as a tuple. Within a parenthesis, comma separated variables or elements is called as a tuple. Okay, as of now you just remember this. So we are going to discuss more about tuples in module 3. Means the number of elements in this particular sequence, which we call it as a tuple, should match the number of format sequences in a string. The type of elements also must match the format sequences. Means not just the number, even the type should also match. Like say for example, dear students, if you say one thing, %d, here only there are only 2 arguments, you will get a type error. And one more is, say here %d, we want to convert this dollars to a integer. We'll get a error because this dollars is a string which cannot be converted to an integer. Okay, because of that we get a number is required, not a string. Like here, say if I write like students, the variable I'll change students is equal to, say if I write, say for example 50, a string 50. Now I use this. There are %d students in Python class. Now if we see %d format, number is required, not string, because students is string. Whatever the format we specify, in that format only this string should be. Instead of this, if I write 50 also, if you see, then also it will going to give a, because number is required, we require an integer here, whereas this 50 here is a string. If I write students is equal to, now say for example 50, and this time you can see there are 50 students in Python class. So 2 things, dear students, here the number of format specifiers should match the number of arguments. The second one is even the type of say format specifier and arguments should be same. In the first example which I gave, say here the number of format specifiers and the arguments both were unequal, and whereas in the second example there is a type mismatch. Format operator basically it's a powerful, but it is little bit difficult to use. So because of that you must be very thorough and careful while using a format specifier. Dear students, a conversion specifier contains two or more characters and has the following components which must occur in order. Like dear students, if you see this format specifier, this is a percent which tells that we should format a second operand as per this format, right? While doing so, here the second letter here is going to tell that actually after percent we are going to write some sequence of characters which are used for different purposes. Like in this case I have used a %d. Okay, so instead of that, even say for example when I told students is equal to 50, here so 50 is a string. Now I can use, instead of %d, I can use %s, and now you can see there is no error. There are 50 students in a Python class because this %s means it is string. Okay, so like that there are many options which we are going to discuss now. Okay, conversion specifiers contains two or more characters. Okay, means this format specifier which is also called as conversion specifier. Okay, it will contain two or more characters and has the following components. The first one is the % character which marks the start of a specifier. Means say whenever say in a string we encounter a format specifier, means percentage, it is the starting of a format specifier. Then the mapping key, which is optional, consists of a parenthesized sequence of characters for say for example something within a bracket. This I have shown you. Say mapping key means say when there are more than one. So if here in this case there is only one argument. When there are more than one arguments, then we can use a mapping key, which is nothing but a say parenthesized arguments. Like here, if you see within a parenthesis, we have given two arguments separated by comma. Okay, so this particular method we use when there are more than two format sequences in a given string. Okay, so in this case, dear students, so because here the first students is %s, I should write here %s, and one more thing is, okay, so here there is only one. Even when you have only one, then also you can write like this. Okay, so if there are say more than one, then also like say for example 56, here I'll write %d. Okay, there are 50 students in Python class and in operating system 56, whatever. Okay, say next one is this I have told there are %d students in Python class and %d in operating system like 50 and 56. Later say after say first one is format this % character, second one is optional mapping key which is nothing but parenthesis within a parenthesis whatever way, right? And the third one is conversion flags. Once again this mapping key and conversion flags both are optional. Conversion flags which affect the result of some conversion types. Like say for example, say these are the conversion flags, dear students. After the %, if we write a d, it stands for signed integer decimal. If we write I, signed integer decimal. D or I, both signed integer decimal. If we write O, it is a signed octal value. Means say here, say like say for example, if I take a simple thing, let me take students is equal to 50 integer value. Students is equal to 50. Say of integer value. So let me take this. Here format specifier means the conversion type. This student should be converted to %d. There are 50 students. Okay. So instead of d, if I use, it's also the same thing. Okay. And the third one is assigned octal value. Means instead of if I say, for example, if I use O, whatever is there, students is it's an integer, it will be converted to a octal number. So because of that 50, its equivalent in octal is 62. Okay, signed. Similarly, say if we use percent means u, like percent u, it's unsigned integer decimal. X for signed hexadecimal means, like say for example, dear students, if I write students is equal to like 0x 1a, and say if I write here also you can say, dear students, 1a is nothing but means actually the students is in hexadecimal, that is converted to octal. And if I write %d, 1a will be converted to decimal, which is 26. And if I write, say for example, %small x, 1a, and if I write a capital X, here it will be printed in a means whatever the value will be there, this format, it will be printed in a capital letters. There are 1a students in Python class, right? Similarly, E for floating point number, floating point exponential format in lowercase, and capital E for uppercase. F for floating point decimal format, lowercase, and capital F for uppercase. Okay, so both are for floating point numbers only. And G floating point format uses lowercase exponential format if exponent is less than 4 or not less than precision. Decimal format otherwise. Dear students, the meaning of this is, instead of say for example here I'll take result is equal to 67.45. Okay, so here I'm going to write some sentence like average result of Python class is %. So if I write %f, say for example here result. If you see, dear students, average result of Python class is 67.450000. But here I have given result is equal to just 67.45, but it has printed with a 6 decimal precision. Instead of just 2, it has printed with a 6 decimal precision. Means by default, when we use %f, it will be of a 6 decimal precision. That's a default value. Okay, so if it is a lesser than, say for example, when we use %g here to print a floating point number, then if the say precision is less than 4 decimal points, like say for example, if the result is 0.00005, okay, then if I print using %g, you can see, dear students, printed only with a 4 decimal points. Like still if I increase the precision, you can see average it has taken only 67. After the decimal point, if the value is less than 4 decimal points or less than 6 precision, then only integer part will be printed. Okay, so that's the meaning of this. G and small g and capital G, both one and same. And one more is %c, it is used for single character. Okay, and %r, what it does is it is going to convert a Python object to a string. Okay, using this particular function. Okay, and S is going to convert whatever given say object to a string, and A also it is going to convert to a string. But if R is there, it is going to use this built-in function. Okay, S is there, it is going to use this built-in function, and if A is there, it is going to use this built-in function. Okay, so all these is going to convert R, S and A is going to convert given object to a string. Like say for example, dear students, okay, say here, so this is result. If I write it as say for example %s, whatever result is there, it is converted to a string. So result is, look at this, this is 67.50 which is converted to a string. With this we'll proceed further, dear students. If we see here, option is minimum field width. If specified as asterisk, the actual width is read from the next element of the tuple in the values. The meaning of this, dear students, Like here in this case, if I write, let me write result is equal to 50.12, and if I use like %f, average result of Python class is 50 point, say, because it will going to print to a 6 decimal point. Okay, so whereas if I write this, if I print this to %d, obviously the after a point whatever is there, it will be truncated. Okay, so if I use result is equal to just integer and try to print it, like say for example 5% 5d, means whatever this number is there, I want to print in a 5 character space. Okay, so if you see, dear students, now it has printed this. Here you can see after a Python class is, there is only one space and then 50, but here there are 3 spaces and then 50, means total this 50 will be printed in 5 character space. Okay, so if I write, say for example, result is equal to 1 2 or say 5, means there are 5 digits. Now if I print, you can see, right? And if it is more, say for example, the result is 50,000, if I want to print only in a 3, means only in 3 character space, then it will be, look at this, okay, say it will be just ignored. Whereas when the result is less values, like say for example only 2 digits, and if we can increase the number, like say for example if I write a 10, the given value will be printed with a 10 character spaces. Here 2 digits are there and remaining 8 will be spaces. And this is, if you see this string, it is right justified, and we can make it left justified, means first we can print whatever the value is there and later spaces. For that purpose we can write a minus sign here. Like if you see, dear students, now this time say it is left justified, means first 50 will be printed and later remaining trailing spaces. Okay, say 8 spaces will be printed. Okay, most of the time to format, because dear students, this format specifier is used to format the string. How we can format in a better way? Okay, so for that purpose only we use this, right? So this is a one method, means this is to format in how much space width or say field width we want to print, that can be decided. And one more thing, dear students, as I told, the asterisk we can specify in how many spaces we want to print, that can be specified as an argument in a format specifier. Like there are %d minus asterisk d students in Python class. Okay, so here if you see, dear students, % and here 5 and 100. If you see, dear students, here there is only 1%. This first, whatever this first argument is there, it will be used here in place of asterisk. Means the meaning of this is print this particular argument in 5 spaces, in 5 character spaces. Okay, say I'll show you this, dear students. If you see this, say instead of 10, if I write asterisk, okay, here for asterisk we should specify how many spaces. Like say for example, if I write 10 comma result, means the result should be printed in a 10 character spaces. That's the meaning. Okay, so look at this, dear students. Okay, it will be printed in 10. Okay, say otherwise, say for example, it should be printed in 4. Okay, minus stands for left justification. Say if I remove the minus, it will be right justified. Means what should be the the width of this particular string, that can be specified using a asterisk here. Try to understand, dear students, this particular value will be printed in these many space width. Hope this is clear to all of you. Next is a precision. We can give a precision, which is once again optional field. Okay, so it will be given as a dot followed by the precision. If specified as asterisk, the actual precision is read from the next element in the tuple values, and the value to convert comes after the precision. Like dear students, if I tell here in say, if I write result is equal to 50.67123 say 5, this is a result. And if I print result, let us consider, I'll print the result. So okay, it is percent d. Instead of that, let me use percent f. Okay, the result is by default it will be printed with a 6 precision. Okay, so because of that, after the decimal point you can see only 6 digits. But if at all I want more precision, then you need to specify. Like say for example 0.8 means this particular value should be printed with say 8 precision, 8 decimal precision. You can see, dear students, here after the decimal point there are 7 digits. Because of that, the 8th one is 0 here. And even say we can write something like this. Instead of say 8 decimal precision, we can have only 2 decimal point precision, like say 0.2f. Average result of a Python class is, say here it is, instead of truncating, it is round off. The value is a round off. Because of that, 50.567235 is round off to 50.57. And one more thing, dear students, as I told, asterisk, instead of specifying here, like say 2 decimal precision or 5 decimal precision, we can write asterisk here and say how many precision we want, that can be written here. Like say for example 5 comma means print this value in 5 precision. That's the meaning, dear students. Next one is a length modifier. For example, if we see, say this, dear students, there are say %7d students in a Python and %d in operating system. When we write 50 and 56, you can see, so already I have told this is called as a length modifier. This particular field means whatever the value is there, it will be printed in a 7 length, nothing but 7 character spaces. Okay, and lastly the conversion type, as I told, percent. Say here students, if we take students, okay, it will be converted to percentage. Means like say for example, dear students, if you take here students, in a result if you take 50.56 and if I print this as a percentage, it will be converted to a string and then later it will be printed. Okay, so those we call it as a conversion types options. Hope this is clear to all of you, dear students. Thank you for watching.